the day, the first day of the main stage here, where we've had some surprising teams get themselves towards the top. Tongji Bao absolutely getting the opposition just crushed, quite frankly, doing very, very well. Flower is blossoming within this environment. It's beautiful.
It's his season. It's his season. And it's also the season of the GT20 Pro. Get your hands on it. Improve your gameplay inside of PUBG Mobile. Like we've always said, Blank, you want to be the best, you need the phone.
Yeah.
That's our catchphrase.
That's our catchphrase. It's a good one, right? 120 hertz to put the hurt on the competition. So I think that, honestly, not with GT20 Pro yet, we've been nagging you for a while. All right, if you don't have it by now, you might be new. That's all. That's the only thing I can think of.
You've just tuned in.
You've just tuned in which case, grab yourself the phone. It's awesome. Cybermecha design, specially made for you guys. Plane path over towards this western side, up towards Severny, and shooting range started over in Primorsk. We had our second game ending over on that region where we saw Tongji Bao get themselves that nasty 2v4, which was lovely to see.
It was indeed, mate. It was indeed. I mean, you know what I'm quite glad about, actually, is just the momentum we're seeing from TJB now. Because Tongji Bao looked so good in the survival stage with the calls they're making, the fights they were taking, the nades as well. That's what surprised me. And if that carries on, how effective they were, showing off, we're the big grenadiers on the block.
Yeah.
I want more of that. Give me more of that nading.
That's what we need. At the end of the day, utility usage was on point. They've got the utility belt strapped on every single player there, and they're good to go. But they're dropping up towards Severny to start things off. Not a lot of teams actually challenging them out on this side of the map. No Kameshki splits, which are obviously not the greatest, but it does annoy the rotation from Severny, because a lot of times you want to head around the top of Stalber, deny those sightlines in Yaz. So an interesting part of the game, but a very western plane path for a very eastern circle. This does create that little bit of uncomfortableness in this game.
You talk about uncomfortable, things have been a little bit uncomfortable for Alliance today. Not the rip-roaring performance that we were seeing them previously. And it's a shame, bud. It really is a shame. I think they hit a huge stride. Look, they had so much momentum behind them. The comms were clean. Every time we tune into them, the decision-making they were making on fights was really fun to watch from the way that you could see they were communicating.
They're panicking.
They are a bit. They are panicking
They're
a bit. But, you know, one way to stop panic, Blank. Wake yourself back up, splash of water on the face, dial in. Yeah. I don't know if they would have had time for the shower. I feel like it was pretty quick turnaround.
A lot of time.
Yeah, just like power shower.
All right, guys. admin. I did an admin shower break. All right, I'll reset my mental.
Everyone's confused. You doing what?
What?
Sprints off. What? Comes back. I'm ready.
I'm ready. Hair's benched.
I've drips on the screen.
I can't see. I've had that a lot though, but the phone's kind of good. You just turn them off and on, reset it.
Yeah.
The water doesn't even matter.
You're fine.
Yeah. I stopped shilling that phone. It's all I could talk about.
You can't help it, bro.
I can't help it. It's a good phone, man. But yeah, over towards the eastern side, we do have Team Liquid already in the circle. Average elimination so far for DRX and Orango, 8 so far. That's on average of 2. So honestly, not that bad. Twisted Minds get themselves a nice start to the game, considering last game they basically stopped playing as soon as they hit the ground, down to 1 player immediately. But Obscure will take down one of the players there from Alula IHC, who are now fielding Alex. A big turnabout, honestly.
Yeah,
I like that.
To see it. You were beaming from, from side to side of the
I was real happy.
Yeah, you
big
were happy
grin.
with that. And he's still alive, at least. He's there with the rest of the squad. He's not the man that does go down the opening moments. It was Obscure that was up on the hill. Obscure, one of the ways that I think he's really impressed is actually his reliability when he is a solo. Him and Ratto Boy have been so good at playing off angles when they just get stuck into fights based on timing. But Obscure's the one that feels like he has that big gut punch to open fights. Yeah,
like a lot of the onus kind of was on Ratto Boy and some of the other players over on Twisted Minds, but you're right, Obscure really does enable that, right? Yeah. He allows it to happen, doesn't take too much credit for it, and that's fine. Talent, here over on their angle stats of an average elim of 4, which would mean, yeah, their last game on Orango must have been pretty poor compared to their chicken dinner they were able to pick up. It was a cool one. We enjoyed it.
Yeah, nice to watch. Perched up on the roof. It's a crazy game.
Oh, what are you doing?
That's the Obscure connection.
There's kind of good shots on the M16 as well. Very controlled. Very nice. Here's Axel. Talon looking over towards Power, who we haven't had the most awesome day so far. I really had hoped Power would do a little bit more here. It's a good nade, though, onto Axel. Opens and closes the door in frustration. Slams it. Like he'd just been told off by Papa Power.
Papa Power's not happy. Seems like they're a bit frustrated on this one. Making some moves to open it up. You're going to be able to get your man back up as well as they play for the revive. Al Hadji, he can be a real mean machine. We've seen how powerful some of his shots have looked. Ooh, that's Kante on the getaway. That's unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually good that he did move out because I was likely to be a flush, actually, onto him. Misery comes through the DBS. This could be big moves here.
Misery. He loves company. Let's see if he can find him. That Power that gets struck on by the might of the DBS. Flick back up from Easy.
It's me.
Oh, hang on a minute. Is there any more to be said here? A lot of damage done. Basically just a solo, reeling to try and recover things. Al Hadji from the top rope peeks on in. Lots of damage out, Blank, but he's suffering. So low on HP, and they've closed the gap.
Yeah, 2v2 right now. Yoru tries to get up close towards him. DBS, though, is available, and he's over-egging it just a little bit. Slight overconfidence. Fidan's now down and flush, but that's a good shot from Al Hadji. Very dangerous jump up, though. I'm not sure about that. Now Easy has to pull things back together.
Felt like an overcommit on the second peak. It was a nice first connection up close with the DBS. And this throws Easy into basically panic stations mode. That's also a backstab. Ocio from Reject, all the way in the back line, spots out the down man of Power, unload the belt, and actually hits onto him. So Easy realizing, I've got to do something soon. I can't let Al Hadji expire.
Yeah, he needs to pull him back up again, even just a 2. I mean, at this point, 4th game of the day, 14 points accrued. It's not ideal. I mean, they're definitely not bottom of the barrel right now. But still, things could be better for Power. We know that they can play a much smoother game. Talon, though, coming back off there, quite an awesome chicken dinner for themselves, only to lose one player early on is slightly frustrating. You'd like to keep some of that momentum rolling forward. But they do come to a dead stop, at least at the beginning of the game. Most teams have shifted their way across to the eastern side of the map, other than Alula IHC, who are playing a very different game, apparently, still in South George. They just love the apartments around there. Couldn't we have the circle on the west side, guys? What do you think? We could pull an old Max man, just lasso it.
Pull it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen him, you know. He stands there with a big long string. No one notices, but he's just outside of the blue. And what he does is he slowly moves it to where he wants the team to win. It's a Max Man classic. I don't know how he's been getting away with it for years. DXavier, though.
You've exposed.
I know. I'm sorry, Max. I've let you down. Ooh, Twisted Minds, though. They might not be letting themselves down in that encounter. DXavier opened it up, but too much of a space between them, really, in terms of the quick trades. Finding a refrag from that is going to be awful. Even IWNRX sees the opportunity on the down man. Here's the rest of the cavalry finally arriving on scene. They've got utility for it. Molotov on the top floor, nades in through the doorway. You spread yourself out a bit. Rat, oh boy, slides around into the building, barely gets away with some HP to play with.
It's like running away from nades. Molotov runs upstairs, the whole floor's on fire. He's not having a good time.
Ooh, all right, though. Nades keep on going. Obscure going to feel the brunt of that one. He was on the backside of the stairs. DBS, like the street sweeper, going up, cleaning up everyone that's upstairs and trying to take them down. The burning building, making it more uncomfortable. Nades out the window, seeing if they can clap back. It's getting awkward on the pathway with the vehicles as well, but Lamborghini, he's just going to back off. Still got nades to play with. Twisted Minds, try to slow it down and heal up.
How many Dastias? There's too many Dastias. There's 3 outside right now. Lamborghini coming through, trying to hit them with the backdraft on this smoking building. That explosive power, but Lamborghini's struggling right now. This is so much utility being invested. Everyone is just getting a bit crisped up by the flames. Good old barbecue between DXavier and Twisted Minds, who are holding their own.
Hey, that's actually kind of a sick nade on contact there. It takes Lamborghini down, so now it really is a parking lot. So many broken vehicles outside as the nades are hitting. For Miracle Vibes up in the Elim feed as well. As they unleash, that's power in their elongated battle versus Talon that starts to resolve itself. Here's the push up again from DXavier. A lot of damage on that initial move in. So you're basically one man looking for the opportunity. Meanwhile, that's exactly what Boom are doing. They've seen this going on. They strike from the sides. The unload with the Bison's good, but the first man switches out to the secondary. But again, it's the shotgun that clears its way through. And Twisted Mind buckling now, all on Ratto Boy.
Shadows trying to strike from the shade here. Keeping himself elusive with the smoke, but it is Ratto Boy, like you said, last player alive. Pretty good player on the team.
Barking at him.
Movement.
The DBS. Giving it some real bite. You want to fight with shotguns, though? We can both do that. That's what Ratto Boy's saying. Oh, Ratto Boy! You are menacing!
The S12K in the air, flying shot round the corner. Barely saw him. Hello, goodbye. Took the door off his handles. And they just could not handle Twisted Minds when it came down to it. That was a crazy engagement. So many Molotovs, so many nades. I'm surprised that Twisted Minds were able to move from room to room like a paranormal figure and stay alive. That was great. Loved it. Whew.
An intense fight to kick us off, dude.
Yeah, in the meantime, half the game's gone by. But yeah, we're heading down towards the southeast, towards Milta Power, Lipovka. Specifically, it is Prison towards the center, and we are locking all of these teams towards the center of this circle and throwing away the key. We'll have to challenge each other out. Team Liquid, very nice little position down towards the low ground, but they'll have to shift positions now as we get IWNRX towards that high ground that does look over towards the eastern side. I think Boom, as well as Vampire Esports, quite happy just to sit over on that western side. Alliance, on the other hand, like to get a move on just a little bit. So they need one of these games that has sort of decent eliminations, but there goes Alpha 7.
They get stuck into a fight versus Reject. It seems like OCO has been knocked off of his trajectory. Same thing could be said about Talon. They wanted to move up and make a clear shot into the new zone, but they ran into IHC Alula that spotted them from the elevated position. Alex got himself into a good angle. They now go for a wider rotate, hoping they'll have an easier time of actually getting in and repositioning. Could accidentally sandwich themselves between Twisted Minds and Alula IHC that are moving up a bit as well. Something to think about there. Meanwhile, on your screens, Alpha 7 in close proximity to Team Liquid and what remains of Reject.
Yeah, pretty difficult push in. I mean, for Alpha 7, they have had a fairly good few games so far. Again, Team Liquid, though, they do have this inside track. They're sending Cardozo out over towards that southwest side, so he is just skirting along that high ground that sits down towards the south side of Prison. The rest of the team here is called back. That look, it's free. Again, this aggressive scouting as a solo does concern me at times, but I think that Cardozo is pretty confident to do it. It just, they weren't sure of all of the rotations over in that group stage. Still made it through. But Alpha 7 will just stop short. I think they know that Reject's coming in from that northeast side around Lipovka, so be able to hold them out, get themselves maybe a decent couple of eliminations.
This could be interesting. Number 1 and number 2 in the overall rankings right now. DJB, Tongjiabao, and Talon. They were chasing them down, took a few pot shots from the vehicle on the move, but realized they don't like the look of the fight after taking some damage back. They cascade further away and set themselves up, finding an additional vehicle to work with as well, so they have more ground to cover now.
Very important. I think with Talon, because they were held up for so long with power, it's becoming a bit of an awkward rotation inwards. This is our replay from earlier. Some really good nades from Hygors to ensure that they actually were able to finish this fight out. He opened it up for Ratto Boy at the end of the day. Just this initial engagement where he gets caught off guard whilst he's trying to clean out some of the knocks. Oh, but yeah, that's just a nice little play from Ratto Boy. And they remain as two. It's pretty decent. But they needed that. They were very low down on points. Here's Team Liquid, 4MV, taking shots over towards Tiamba as Bond hits the ground.
It's a really rough sequence of events for Talon. They instantly began to chase Tongjiabao, go down into the compound, get unloaded upon from the elevated angles with the surrounding squads, take so much damage that it's just a solo that's left alive now for them. So off the back, getting a little bit of momentum and a few points. Quickly, that ship begins to sink. Oh, for Miracle Vibes back on our screen. They've not had the best day of it yet. Oh, outside of the blue as well, man goes down. That's the way their story ends. Yeah, I mean, for Talon, it's just tough journey. That elongated fight versus power into running into Alula IHC, who technically were out in the blue for
way longer than I think a lot of teams might have expected them to. Talon just can't quite find a comfortable rotate inwards. Next circle, centers up, round shelter. Very interesting ending. In my opinion, a lot of open ground, but technically there's a lot of these little places where you can get into the bunker that's underneath in shelter, and you can post up around there, block out these stairways with vehicles, and essentially create yourself not the greatest of compounds, but an okay one.
An okay is better than not okay. So at least give you something to play with.
An okay.
Exactly, an okay. Which sounds like you're saying no thanks. Okay.
Okay.
Would you like that for dinner?
Okay. Right then. Looks like Papa Power's going to have to make a whole new meal now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got to throw away the old one and cook something else.
Okay.
Oh, hey. I couldn't imagine that. A sad look on Al Hadji's face. It would be, be rough to see.
That'd cripple me.
Yeah.
Makes me sad.
Hadji.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to.
I just want Al Hadji to succeed, man. That's all I want. I think he's been trying so hard for so long. It would be sad if he doesn't. Boom, Esports here. He's getting a check-in with some of the Arabic casters saying that they think that this team's going to do fairly well. They're a team that plays very well under pressure in the finals. Yumi being an extremely good member and strong fragger for that squad.
It's not looking bad for them. Oh, right though. You get a quick drive-by. I mean, TJB, relatively fragmented. Reject. Take a stab onto them. And yeah, all right, this is a big old blade they're pulling out, slicing their way through the entire team, making a sort of fruit salad here. Reject. Where's this come from? Bit of confidence back in the camp. You'd like to see them have some upwards momentum. They've had a struggle of a day so far. They need big elims, and they need games with longevity to them. IWNRX, another squad that was proving to be such a hothead back in the survival stage. Now they're under pressure. A peek through the window. Alpha 7 roaming on in. They need to get themselves some points here. They know about that. The shot is pulled out up close, but they buckle under the pressure and they hard commit onto it as well. Swing it in from both sides. Smoke's going to cause some issues. IWNRX with Swain looking to fire straight down through the middle. His back could be exposed,
nice.
but Mafioso pulls out the big gun and chews them to pieces.
That was a play and a half from Mafioso. I've seen this guy almost do a 1v4 before over on Miramar. Crazy player. Not really the player that a lot of people talk about on that team very often. A lot of times you're talking about Carrillo or even Revo. But I do think that Mafioso, when it comes to that clutch potential, he really has it. Showing it right there. Team Liquid annihilates Tiamba in the meantime as Al HC go over towards Boom. Goodness me, TJB is suffering so much damage around the map. And I mean, it's reasonable considering there's just no space available to play right now.
And Boom are feeling the might of the big booms. They've got nades being thrown all over the squad. A thin veil of smoke is all that's providing them cover. That one's pretty nasty. Right on target. IHC, Alula really getting stuck into this one. You fragmented Boom, soften them up. Can they commit to it to close things down? Really take the top off here.
Reject's trying to steal a lot of the eliminations away from IHC as well. There's Ayala finding Alex from IHC. Godless trying to hold it down, but these some nice nades been sent out from Razy. He will be finished off before he can get that elimination or flush. And Boom just reveals the position now. So many squads just suffering. Everyone outside the circle right now just cannot handle it. Team Liquid, I think they played a really nice split on the line here over towards Alpha 7. They just cannot make it through. They have locked the gate up here.
Alpha 7 going around the backside of the hill. Vampire and Reject are the two squads that are on either side of the setup. If they turn towards them, can take a few pot shots on the momentum. They now see each other, begin to exchange a few blows. Get the drop down behind the tree. Uh-oh, first snipe across. It's good from Alpha 7 to get the connection back onto Vampire. Hard commit with the Molotov as well to burn him out of position and keep pressure applied. Uphill battle though. Corallo taking that hit back as Vampire strike once again.
Vampire trying to keep Newsy alive here, but Mafioso will finish him off. He's doing the lion's share of the work here for Alpha 7 at the moment. Definitely domination coming through from this guy.
They making it look easy.
Yeah.
Smooth moves on the transition back to DP as well. Trying to see if he can feast with the dinner plate.
I will say for Vampire, it's just not having Ravenclaw on the team just feels rough, man.
Yeah.
So good on the off angles, really set his teammates up all the time. Sort of felt to me like when Zerich left the team, where we had Effect playing. He just set Effect up all the time, and then they split up, split away. Suddenly you just have this situation where you just cannot play the same game that you used to. It's really tough. It's really, really tough. So I feel bad for Vampire. They've not quite worked out the synergy just yet, but there's Schweppes finding a nice shot over towards Audio from Alliance.
It's a nice way to get stuck into things. Miracle vibes on screen now. Playing a bit of a slower game, just using the nades to clear the top floor, and that one's on target. Alliance suffering a heavy hit, and once again go down early. Out of the runnings here in our fourth game, Black.
Yeah, a very, very tough game so far, and I think it has had one of the most difficult positions to be playing in. And I think I'm okay with that, honestly. I'm okay with really difficult games being played here at the main stage, because it really does bring out the best. We've had some circles so far where it's just favored one team. And it's been very, very difficult to deal with them. You saw that over towards Talon in Heaven. But this is a really good test of who is the best in the lobby. Team Liquid up to 7 elite elims. I'm not telling anyone I told you so, but I kind of told you so.
You might have
they'll tell me off towards
you might have
when they might jinx it just there.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the casting curse is going to present itself, mate. I've said it now. It's too late. You've ushered it into existence. They're going to know.
Haven't.
They're going to know.
No, they're like liquid. They're like water.
What, they can't hear because they're made of water?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah,
Liquid
exactly.
doesn't have ears. That's what we've learned today.
They don't need ears.
No, because they're water.
They're water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
They crash like the tides upon their enemies.
But look at this. That water's got fire. That would make steam.
That would make steam. That would make steam.
Which would mean they would go up.
Honestly,
because it rises.
Right now, they are kind of steamrolling the competition.
That's crazy.
That's wild, you said. That's a nice nade. Not quite on target from Cardozen, though. Mythic is down. 2 elims to his name, but 7 elims so far for Team Liquid. Now up to a 6th place position, looking to leapfrog over the top of Boom. I think right now they are just equal points. DRX still has 4, though, in a strong central position. Not a lot of elite elims here, but they do like to favor themselves towards a central position where they can. They're able to play both sides of that coin, which is, you know, playing that aggressivity, as Mr. Maxman would call it, as well as a bit more of that passive nature as well, which I do really like. I really like that from DRX. And they're using it to their advantage, because it feels like a lot of the other teams inside this lobby are so mean, so aggressive, looking for fights all the time, baring their teeth.
Yeah, there's a lot of big bullies on the battlefield.
There is.
You know, you got a lot of players that rep themselves, back themselves in a lot of fights, and fair play to them. We know that there's a reason for the utmost confidence going into a game like this on the big stage. You've had long enough now, you know, there's no sort of doubt in your minds really in terms of the environment shook us off. We weren't prepared for it. You've had your time in the sun. You just got to show us that you can blossom. Unfortunately for Reject, they go down and out. It was only one man that remained alive in OCO in a very uncomfortable spot. He's finished off. Alpha 7 and Vampires duking it out for so long. After they take out Alpha 7, you get a reposition from Tony K, but Cardozen's just been waiting for the go signal. That's the flare, and he engages.
Yeah, that's a really good shot from Cardozen, but not one I think Tony K should have let him have. He had cover to get to on that tree. He was running across to it, but I think he just panics in the moment and decides to double back. That is definitely the wrong choice there. And Cardozen obviously will just capitalize on top of it. Up to 8 elims now for Team Liquid. Nice game from them. Baron gets a shot over towards DRX. Now Stone starts to move up. Tony K, though, has had a good game. 4 elims. You know, sort of the wonder kid on the block for the last 2 mid-seasons.
It's worrying though, isn't it then? Losing him. If there was a timeline for Vampire to start to spread their wings and soar back into the game, you might need a man like Tony K. They're not going to have that luxury.
Circle moves over towards that northern side, Jackie, which gives Team Liquid a lot of space to work with. Obviously, a lot of these teams are on the high ground right now. They have to move down. Hyunbin finds Apex with Soez, and Reefus will be flushed out here. So although not a lot of elims are found for DRX, they're controlling this space nicely. I don't think 4MV was quite prepared to come toe-to-toe with them.
No, I don't think you are at all. You're going to be the Baron to lord over him here. Swing with a mighty scepter. I don't think so. Back on low HP. DRX paranoid about anyone starting to move up, a potentially third party onto it as well. So for Miracle Vibes, their hopes and dreams rely on one man being able to play with the right timing. If an opportunity is given to him, he can't make a mistake now or really engage.
If you look at just even the utility count on DRX, I'm not sure how much over they can get in this game. They really don't have much of anything. They might be able to get a refresh on the death rates coming through from 4MV, but they're still not flushed out Baron. It becomes a really difficult thorn to have in your side here. DRX doesn't really want to show themselves down towards that north side of the circle, south side of the circle, sorry, where Team Liquid might be able to take shots. Their saving grace is the fourth man, right? They've got more angles to work with, and an open playing space like this with all the trees, a fourth angle can be the difference between a chicken dinner and not.
Gives you that extra line of sight, that early warning system, the proverbial tripwire to spring into action. And that duo of Vampire still downhill. Liquid have had them locked, giving them no rotation points for a while. They've got a few nades still to work with. 3 Molotovs, 1 nade here. First going to be cast out over towards them. They have to barely move from what remains of cover. Burned out vehicles, the odd tree. Baron's gone on a bit of a crawl as well. Tried to get himself into a better spot in terms of the positioning.
QXZ here actually has the Wizard Tower. So it's really not a bad position for them. And I think this kind of comes down to the next circle, Jackie. Nice shot from Stoned. Will finish off 4MV. That at least gives them a third place there. So for Vampire Esports, they're pretty pleased with that one. Schweppes potentially spotting out Hyunbin, but no. Good angle from him. But they'll know of this spot. Yeah, exactly. I was wondering. It's a case of where you take those shots, you have to remove yourself. That's Cardozin going down. That's bad news. Chief needs to immediately respond. He does.
Ooh, nice movement as well. Instant drop back down. He was exposed for a while there, but it works out in the engagements they've taken so far. Wide swing across, tracing the Vampire rotate in the vehicle. Hits onto Stoned and removes him from the equation. Fights breaking out all over the circle.
Right now, I think Team Liquid very concerned with eliminations, and also this back angle here from Vampire is really tough. I do believe that the Wizard Tower stays in contention. Ayala gets knocked out. They know they should push this one. They do find them immediately. That is dangerous, sticking the res there. In comes Schweppes, tries to finish him off. Might be getting second place, but a good shot from Soez will shut him down. Now it's just one player from Team Liquid, and they cannot flow through this one for the chicken dinner. It will be DRX to take themselves a lovely win from the high ground. Very well set up, very passive up until that point. But again, it wasn't a case where you get a lot of teams who have that passive nature all the way to the end of the game, and they're not prepared for that firefight right at the end. But I feel like DRX really set themselves